Hey there, fellow gardeners. Welcome back to the Soil House. I've been gardening for years, and I used to think that NPK was all that mattered. Nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, the holy trinity printed on every fertilizer bag. But here's something that bothered me. Why were my plants still struggling even when I followed the fertilizer instructions to the letter? Yellow leaves here, stunted growth there, fruits that never quite reached their potential. Sound familiar? That's when I stumbled onto something that, honestly, changed everything. Turns out, there's a whole world of minerals that your plants are literally starving for, and the big fertilizer companies have kept pretty quiet about them. Why? Because you can't patent minerals found in nature, and healthy soil doesn't keep you coming back for expensive synthetic fixes every season. Today I'm pulling back the curtain on 9 incredible minerals that can genuinely triple your harvest, and I'm going to show you exactly how to get them into your soil without breaking the bank. Before we dive into these game-changing minerals, let's talk about why this information has been buried. The conventional agriculture industry built an empire on NPK fertilizers because they deliver quick, visible results. Plants green up fast, they grow tall, and for a while, everything looks great. But here's what they don't tell you. Plants need at least 16 essential nutrients to truly thrive, and when you only feed them 3, you're setting yourself up for a cascade of problems. Think of it like eating nothing but protein shakes. Sure, you'll survive, but you won't be healthy, strong, or resilient. Your plants are the same way. Those hidden mineral deficiencies create weak cell walls, poor root systems, and plants that become magnets for pests and diseases. Then what happens? You're told to buy more products, fungicides, pesticides, more fertilizers, in an endless cycle. But what if you could break that cycle by simply feeding your soil what it's actually hungry for? Let's start with calcium. And I'm not talking about the tiny amounts in your NPK fertilizer. Calcium is absolutely critical for building strong cell walls, and when your plants have adequate calcium, they literally become structurally stronger. I've seen tomato plants with proper calcium levels resist blossom end rot completely, while their calcium-deficient neighbors a few feet away suffered terribly. Calcium also plays a crucial role in nutrient uptake. It helps roots absorb other nutrients more efficiently and improves soil structure by flocculating clay particles. In my garden, adding quality calcium sources like gypsum or oyster shell flour transformed my heavy clay soil into something workable and alive. The difference in root development alone was staggering. Plants that struggled to establish themselves suddenly had robust, spreading root systems that could access water and nutrients from a much larger soil volume. Here's something most gardeners don't realize. Magnesium sits at the center of every chlorophyll molecule. Without adequate magnesium, your plants literally cannot photosynthesize efficiently. You'll see yellowing between the veins of older leaves, and overall growth just seems sluggish, no matter how much nitrogen you throw at them. I learned this the hard way with my peppers a few years back. They were looking pale, production was weak, and honestly, I just kept adding more fertilizer thinking they needed feeding. Then I finally tested my soil and, discovered my magnesium levels were in the basement. After adding Epsom salts and dolomitic limestone, the transformation over the next few weeks was just remarkable. The leaves darkened to a healthy green, flowering increased, and my pepper harvest that year was triple what I'd gotten the season before. Magnesium also activates numerous enzyme systems in plants, making it essential for protein synthesis and energy production. Sulfur has actually become increasingly deficient in agricultural soils over the past few decades, partly because we've cleaned up air pollution, which ironically used to deposit sulfur into our soils. But sulfur is absolutely essential for protein formation, enzyme function, and even the development of those wonderful aromatic compounds that make your tomatoes taste like tomatoes and your onions pungent. Boron is needed in tiny amounts, but its impact is enormous. This trace mineral is absolutely critical for flower formation, pollen viability, and fruit set. If you've ever had fruit trees that bloom beautifully but barely set fruit, or bean plants with lots of flowers but few pods, boron deficiency might be your culprit. I remember my apple trees used to drop most of their blossoms without setting fruit, and honestly, I was about ready to give up on them. A soil test revealed virtually no available boron. After applying a small amount of borax mixed with compost, the next season's fruit set was incredible. Suddenly I was thinning apples instead of wondering where they all went. Boron also helps with calcium uptake and cell division, and it's particularly important for root crops like beets and carrots, improving their growth and preventing issues like cracked roots or hollow heart. Zinc is essential for the production of plant growth hormones, particularly auxins. When zinc is deficient, you'll see stunted growth, shortened internodes, and small, distorted leaves. Corn is particularly sensitive to zinc deficiency, developing white or yellow stripes on young leaves. Manganese works alongside magnesium in the photosynthesis process and is crucial for activating numerous enzyme systems. It's particularly important for chloroplast function and helps plants use nitrogen efficiently. Deficiency symptoms often appear as intervenal chlorosis on younger leaves, similar to iron deficiency but typically less severe. So, everyone knows iron helps keep plants green, but honestly, its roles go way deeper than that. Iron is essential for chlorophyll synthesis, and it's a component of many enzymes that are involved in energy transfer. While iron deficiency is less common in acidic soils, it actually becomes a major issue in alkaline conditions, where iron is, well, just chemically locked up and unavailable to plants. Copper is needed in really tiny quantities, but it serves some pretty vital functions in enzyme systems, especially those involved in photosynthesis and respiration. It's also important for lignin formation, which gives plants their structural strength and resistance to disease. If your soil is lacking copper, you might see dieback of young shoots, distorted growth, and, unfortunately, a higher risk of fungal diseases. Molybdenum is required in the tiniest amounts out of all these minerals, but for legumes and nitrogen fixation, it's absolutely critical. This mineral is essential for converting nitrate to ammonium within the plant, and it's crucial for those nitrogen-fixing bacteria living in legume root nodules. Without enough molybdenum, your beans, peas, and cover crops just can't fix atmospheric nitrogen efficiently. Now that you know what these minerals do, let's talk about how to actually get them working in your garden. The first step, and I cannot stress this enough, is to get a comprehensive soil test. Not the basic NPK test, but a complete analysis that includes all these micronutrients. Your local extension office can usually help you with this, or there are several good private labs that offer detailed testing. Once you know what you're working with, you can address deficiencies specifically rather than guessing. For broad-spectrum mineral supplementation, I've found that rock dusts like basalt or granite meal provide slow-release minerals over time. Kelp meal is another fantastic source of trace minerals, and also provides plant growth hormones and beneficial compounds. For specific deficiencies, targeted amendments like gypsum for calcium and sulfur, Epsom salts for magnesium, or specific trace mineral products work quickly. The real magic happens when you combine mineral supplementation with building soil biology. Healthy soil microbes make minerals more available to plants by breaking down rock particles and creating organic acids that dissolve mineral compounds. Adding quality compost, actively aerated compost tea, and reducing soil disturbance allows these beneficial organisms to thrive and essentially mine minerals for your plants. I'm not going to promise miracles overnight, but I will tell you what happened in my garden. Within one growing season of implementing a comprehensive mineral program, my tomato yields increased by about 250%. My fruit trees, which had been struggling for years, suddenly started producing abundant, flavorful fruit. Pest and disease pressure decreased noticeably because my plants were healthier and more resilient. Beyond just yield, the quality improved dramatically. Vegetables had better flavor, better storage quality, and higher nutrient density. I actually had my tomatoes tested 1 year, and they contained significantly higher levels of vitamins and antioxidants than they had in previous seasons. That's the difference between plants that are merely surviving and plants that are truly thriving. Perhaps most importantly, my soil became healthier and more alive. Earthworm populations exploded, beneficial insects became more abundant, and the soil structure improved to the point where digging became a pleasure rather than a chore. That's the beautiful thing about feeding your soil properly. The benefits compound over time rather than requiring constant inputs. Here at the Soil House, we believe that knowledge is power, but only if you put it into action. If this information resonates with you, I want you to start with a soil test. Get that baseline data so you know exactly what your soil needs. Then, start addressing deficiencies systematically. You don't have to do everything at once. Even adding 1 or 2 of these minerals will produce noticeable improvements. Remember, the big fertilizer companies profit from keeping you dependent on their products season after season. But when you build truly healthy, minerally balanced soil, you break free from that cycle. Your garden becomes more self-sustaining, more productive, and more resilient with each passing year. If you found this information valuable, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss future videos where we'll dive deeper into each of these minerals and explore other secrets to building incredible soil. Share this with your gardening friends. Knowledge like this is too important to keep to yourself. And drop a comment below telling me which of these minerals you're most excited to try in your garden. Let's build better soil together, one mineral at a time. Until next time, keep growing and remember, it all starts with the soil.